day, ma'ams and sirs, and welcome back to the Number 9 with Tommy podcast, where we're doing our first show in several months. And this episode will be packed with a ton of punch. First off, we're at the Goshen Stampede recording live, good ma'ams and sirs. That means the rednecks have no boots with fur. This is Boots and Spurs. All kinds of cowboy references, both specific and obscure. Most importantly, a podcast that's sure to be absurd. Nick from Second Armament has new designs, styles, and tops and options. And that relationship he was in last year is 6 feet deep in a coffin. Awesome. I personally have been working hard to eat right and lose some weight. The extra energy is good, but the money I've saved is great. The show's namesake gave his backyard a makeover and got some more space. Where I was at during that process, you can't find a trace. I've been working with the Prince on how to finish or avoid any fights, and T-Dub's been working each and every day and all night. We haven't seen each other for more than an hour per month. If we aren't both busy with something, it's because only one of us is out to a lunch. Then it's back to a project or errand or work. I can't help but wonder if it's going to pay out what it's worth. My health is intact, my family's well, and I have a smile you can see from his... Oh, no, that's not what that says. My health is intact, my family's well, and I have a smile you can spot from as far as you can probably see. But Big Tommy's tsunami has been diagnosed with Big Nami disease. There's 300 cases in America that are reported each year, with 330 Americans that are reportedly here. So you could say Tommy's Big Nami is potentially killing him. But he says, and I agree, it kind of just proves that he's 1 in a million. Erica is wrapping up the school year, about to take a well-deserved break. Holland's getting so strong he'll break your hand with a shake. Miss Elizabeth's right by my side half the nights of the week. When she takes off her clothes to go shower, I run and have me a peek. As always, I'm the most brilliant person I know, like Einstein or Chomsky. Ask me a question, and like Tommy, the answer comes promptly. Give you a moment to let that set in. It's not a rare moment when I have a stroke of such genius, but then again, all I've got to do is have a stroke of mine. We just got to the fair, and we can't wait to get started. And now that catches you up in our lives, and we'll get more details on the show. We'll get it started right now with the star that you've all gotten to know, Tommy motherfucking Washington. What's been up, man? How are you?
I'm good, Pat. I'm good. I wish I could say that my health was intact, but I think for the most part it is. Yeah,
you look normal, like your body is intact.
Yeah, my body's intact. So the Big Nami is a brain disease, which could probably explain why I've been friends with you for so long.
As our listeners can imagine, this has got to be a small case of the Big Nami.
So yeah, I got this Big Nami disease. Go ahead and Google what that's about. You'll find that it's caused by alcoholism.
B-I-G space M-O-M-M-Y, Big Mommy.
Yeah, Big Mommy disease. That's the name of the show. Big Mommy disease is back.
That's right.
But as of right now, we're just in a holding pattern. We're getting tests done and stuff like that to figure out what's causing it. But from everything I've read, which is clearly more than my doctor, it's 100% curable as long as we find out what's causing it. So
really?
Yeah.
That's not what you had originally told me back when you had only talked to your doctor and not gone on Google Earth.
Yeah, well, I had to go do some research. From what I see, it should be 100% curable or reversible as long as we can find out what's causing it. The two main causes are malnutrition, not really malnourished, and alcoholism, and I rarely drink.
Right.
So we know that those two things aren't it. So they got to figure it out. But other than that, man, I'm good. I started going to the gym, started to live a little bit of a healthier life because I'm scared to death I'm going to die soon. I've been a cardiologist, ear, nose, and throat doctors, physical therapy. I've been to it all in the last 3 months, trying to just live right. You know what I mean? Make sure I'm here for...
I should mention to the people who can see us, we can see out to some exciting people walking past, and like there's a lot going on. That's why like Tom got lost in the focus out there.
Bless you.
Thank you. Also, we're out in the fresh air, so we're gonna have some allergies.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure they remember from our podcast before. There's also they're doing barrel races behind us this morning.
Yep.
Mind you, we're recording this before the fair opens, but apparently they start barrel racing super early in the morning.
Yeah,
so,
and there's tons of people. Like, this can't all be vendors. There's people are just strolling through who don't want to deal with fair traffic are here right now.
well, I'm sure fans of the barrel racers.
Yeah, families, fans.
You know, and plus, upside, you don't have to pay to get in necessarily.
Facts. And the vast majority of these people are super local. Like, even the barrel racers that we've been were super local. They're only like a half hour away.
So yeah, that pretty much catches you up on the big Nami disease. Yeah.
It really doesn't. Big Nami is in the brain, you know that.
Yeah.
How did they find the Big Nami disease?
They did an MRI because so I was getting those dizzy spells. Remember we had that podcast?
I
where,
do.
Yeah.
Did we talk about it on the podcast?
Yeah, that I had to freak out and we had to end the podcast. And I went to the
that's
emergency
right.
room.
So really, we're picking up where we left off.
Yeah, we've done a couple shows since then, but
okay.
very few. So I've been having these dizzy spells since like the end of November, early December, which they still haven't figured out why I'm having them. So I've chalked it off to anxiety and stress because the Big Nami doesn't cause the dizziness and stuff like that. And I still get those here and there.
So just to be clear, there's no answers on the dizziness, but on the upside, there's also no answers on Big Nami.
Yes.
Okay.
That is correct. So I had
So
an
you
MRI.
went from having a problem to having two problems, zero solutions.
Yes.
All right. By my math, this next podcast, we should have 4 problems for Tom.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been a clusterfuck. I mean, what are you gonna do? I mean, I try to stay positive. I keep reminding myself now. I thought I've had heart attacks. I get chest pains. I've also picked up golfing, which is why I think I have some of the chest pains. Also, the anxiety is probably some of the chest pains and stuff like that. Because my cardiologist says you're far too young to have heart problems. And according to my EKGs and everything, I'm
You're
fine.
in your 30s.
He
How's
says
that far too young to have heart problems?
That's what he said, bro. I don't know.
I don't like anybody. Your doctors are awful, but they have
When
great
I
stuff
told
better
my
than me.
father about the results of my MRI, all he kept saying was, I hate fucking doctors. That's all he kept saying to me. It was just,
Stop fucking them.
he's like, I hate doctors. I hate doctors. So it's scary. It's probably more scary because I don't know what's causing it.
Yeah.
And nobody, because it's so rare. To put this in perspective, my doctor, I have no idea how long she's been practicing neurology.
Yeah.
But I'm the only patient she's ever had with it, and I'm the only patient in that practice that has ever had this disease. So I'm seeking a second opinion. Yeah. So I'm seeking a second opinion through Yale to try and do that. If I don't get any answers from Yale, I'll have to search through the country and find somebody that specializes in this to try and figure out what's going on. But again, I've been trying to live a healthier life. I'm not dieting like that. Is like you pretty much cut out all carbs, right? For the most part.
No, I cut out bread. I did not cut out carbs. I ate pasta constantly.
Okay, so just,
So here's, you'll understand this. Actually, very few people will understand this. When I order pizza, right? This is why I cut bread, because I was thinking pizza and burgers. Burgers are the same thing, so it's no different. If you make right now, if you grilled 10 cheeseburgers and nobody claimed any of them, I would have one, and in like 20 minutes I would go have another one. But then like 20 minutes later I would have one, and I would go until they were gone. Pizza was the same way. So if we ordered 3 large pizzas, we've done this, you and I,
yes.
where we order infinite pizza,
And then it's just sitting there and
you just eat it until it's gone. It may not be in one sitting, but it will not make it to the fridge. I've never put a pizza in the fridge, I don't think. I just throw it up on the counter because I know by tomorrow morning it's gone.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's like, I know me, and I know I can't fucking do pizza and burgers, at least not on buns. So if I cut bread, just bread, that's my rule, because that cuts pizza out automatically. I knew that would be a big difference maker, but I was like, I do not want to cut carbs, because I don't want to lose a bunch of weight and then gain it as soon as I'm done.
Yeah.
So I fully intend in 2024 to eat bread on a very rare occasion.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like once a month. So like in January it would be on my birthday. In February it would be like Tony's birthday. Like I'll have a reason to eat bread.
Well, and like in the summertime, you'll have a cookout once a month.
Right, yeah, July 4th, boom, I'm eating bread that day.
Yeah.
But that will be how I reintroduce bread and just not be a fucking monster. Because I fucking kill carbs.
Well, so my mom actually has been looking a lot into glucose.
Yeah.
She like heard something on a podcast and she started, and it's fucking crazy, man. What they put in this shit, and it's really like if you're eating natural bread, it doesn't have the same. Like if you're making bread at your house.
Well, that's another thing is I made Get a press maker and make it. Right.
Yeah, because the process shit that they put into your buns.
The enriched white flour.
Yes, it's horrible for you. So she was actually thinking that maybe the Big Nami is something to do with my glucose, but my glucose always comes back fine. So they're gonna check my A1Cs because that's how they tell if you're diabetic or not. Like another way that they could tell, and it's like 100%. If your A1Cs is high or low, it'll tell you if you're diabetic.
Right.
So they're gonna test that the next time I do blood in July. Because from what I've read, I had to tell the doctor this, it could be caused by unkept diabetes, like you're not treating it.
Sure.
But nobody's ever thought I was diabetic because my glucose is always fine. But we have to go to the next step and just rule it out completely. And, the guy who used to eat a fucking sleep Oreos might be a diabetic.
Daily.
But I am happy. Like I had ice cream last night. Like I'm not in a place where I'm like I'm gonna deprive myself of stuff that I enjoy. What I do is I eat very small meals during the day.
Sure.
So if in the morning if I go to the gym, I have 2 hard-boiled eggs for breakfast.
Yeah.
And then I have these little granola bars I get from Costco. They're 100 calories. I might eat 2 of those throughout the day.
Yeah.
But I'm not eating like normally a big lunch. If I have lunch at all, and then I have dinner.
To put that in perspective, is there an app on your phone that you don't have? Like you have McDonald's, you have Burger King.
Oh, I have.
You have all the apps.
Yeah.
So this is a dramatic switch.
Yeah, and I pretty much, with the exception of Taco Bell, I have cut out fast food.
I do. I've cut now. I did. I kept Chipotle because I use the Chipotle if I really need fast food.
Yeah.
I'll order and go through the Chipotle. And I maybe 4 times have had Starbucks coffee, not like a bunch of bullshit.
That's the other thing. So I stopped drinking Dunkin' Donuts and I make my coffee every day.
Yeah.
I've cut out energy drinks 100%. I haven't had an energy drink since December.
Did you switch to stevia?
I use Truvia.
Okay.
So, but yeah, like I cut out. Even before that, I used Splenda.
Yeah.
But I think Truvia is a little bit healthier for you.
I think it tastes better. It's just a better flavor.
But I have 1 coffee a day, and then the rest of my day I drink water. Very rarely do I even have a soda, and if I do have, I've always been a diet soda drinker, or a 0 calorie soda. But again, I don't drink soda that often. It's mainly just water, lots of water.
So I am using pre-workout as my caffeine. I don't drink any coffee really, other than my sports summer. So I had a pre-workout that I
tried one at your house. It was very good.
Pre-workout?
Yeah, you gave it to me one day. You were like, hey, try this.
Was it pineapple?
It was definitely like a citrusy flavor.
Yeah. So that shit's good, but so it's not like a standard pre-workout. A pre-workout is like when you're heading to the gym. Like you can feel your blood running through your veins. It itches. It's crazy. It's super uncomfortable. Unless you're in the gym trying to get jacked up, then it feels good. And I do have that pre-workout. I don't use it unless I'm going to be lifting weights.
Yeah.
I'm using a pre-cardio as my pre-workout.
Yeah.
So it's like a slower, longer burn, and I make it when I get to work. It's just a powder. I make a cup of water with super cold water when I'm at home. I drive the hour to work, so the water's not super cold anymore, thank God. I dump my scoop in, shake it up, and it's gone.
You're going to have to give me the damn for that, because maybe I'll drink that one before I go to the gym.
I have about 9,000 of them at my house, all different flavors.
Cool. I'll have to try some of those out. Because that's all I'm doing really is cardio. I just go and walk on a treadmill at a normal rate, but I increase the incline every day, so I actually burn some calories. But just getting up and doing those walks, and again, I picked up golfing, so a lot of walking to that, which is, I'm not good at golf by any means, but I truly enjoy it. I like getting outside, hanging out with my friends.
I think it's funny because you're, okay, one, before we get to why I think you play golf is fine, because we will get you have, since long before Big Nami, long before the tingling in your fucking ear, all those things.
That's what started all this. That's also why I think I had the anxiety. I had that vibration in my ear. Now it's never happened again.
Okay.
Right? It's never happened again. But ever since that day, that's when I started getting dizzy. So now, if I get a pain in my chest, I get
freak out.
I get pain. Right. If I have a pain in my leg, Now with the big 9, I get a pain in my head. You know, like these random things. And there was a point in my life where I was getting a fucking headache every day.
Right.
And so I've turned a corner where like I'll deal with a headache before I take ibuprofen.
Right.
Because I was probably eating too many ibuprofen. Like I could take 4 ibuprofen every day at work. You know what I mean? And, well,
I couldn't do it last time I took a pain pill.
Yeah.
Of any.
Well, and again, so now I only think I do it once a week.
That's good.
You know what I mean?
But cutting coffee is probably a huge part of that as well.
That, and I drink much more water.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Dehydration is the number 1 reason for a headache.
Yeah. So I think that's helped a lot too. But anyway, keep going with your thing.
So you were constantly in fear of death. You don't like to talk about death. You don't like to talk about other people dying. You
Yeah,
just
not
never
my
talked about it. So now you have this thing that's, you know, it was undiagnosed at first.
What the fuck is that? Really?
Food thing.
It sounds like a fucking jet.
It's a little loud. But so, one, can you die a sudden death from Big 9? Do they know that?
Yes.
Okay. That does not preface my next question very well. 2, are you feeling any better about death being imminent?
I would say that, like, so I've always known that death is imminent, but like you said, I'm not a big talker about it because, let's be real, who wants to fucking die? You know what I mean? Like, I make jokes like, oh, I wish I would die, but nobody really wants to die. You know, like, unless you have some serious mental health issues.
I wouldn't say it's mental health issues. No, but like I understand personally, I understand on a big scale my significance, like for the ecosystem. Yeah, is like if I died right now, nothing changes.
Yes.
Like the plane continues, you know, like so. I don't fear like these big repercussions where even on like, you know, in our direct relation, just the 2 of us, you have a child who then loses a father.
Yes.
I don't have that.
Yeah.
So,
but again, that's not a reason why. Like, I guess part of it is that, like, I'm not going to be able to see him grow up. He's going to grow up without a father if I die. So I can't, I don't want to say that I would die a sudden death, right? Because I don't really know that's how it works.
Right.
There's things that would start happening. Like, I would start having seizures. The good news is I had an EEG a few months ago, and that EEG came back that I'm not prone to seizures. They tried to induce one, and I couldn't. You know
you tried to induce one?
Well, so what they're doing is they're measuring your brain waves, right?
Yeah.
So, and you get totally relaxed. They tell you to try and fall asleep, right?
Okay.
So you do that for about 25 minutes, and then they go, okay, wake up. And then they have you stare at something, and then they go, they say close your eyes, and they start flashing strobes in your eyes.
Yeah.
Right? Because that will induce a seizure.
Right.
And then hyperventilate. They have you hyperventilate because that also can induce a seizure.
Jesus.
So you do those.
Super comfortable test, huh?
Yeah, awesome. Dude, I've been through some wild fucking. The ear, nose, and throat test, dude, was wild. But, so, they have you do that to see if your brain starts to react to have a seizure, and mine came back totally normal. So that's a very positive thing. But that's what I told my doctor, is I'm afraid that one day, because how do you know that you're going to have a seizure? You don't.
Right. Only
So-
the dog knows.
So I'll be walking and just have a fucking seizure. You know what I mean? And that freaks me the fuck out. Or another thing that will happen is I'll go into a coma.
Right.
So I go to sleep one night and I just don't nap until, if I'm lucky, I wake up, but it's a month later.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Great for weight loss, I'm sure, but not so much
And you
for
used to be so much more relaxed when you woke up.
being, you know.
Body well rested.
So those types of things freak me the fuck out, and when something starts happening, like
you immediately think that's coming.
Well, you just start thinking about, and it's like I'm on hyper alert
Right.
for any discomfort from a normal. Like at this point, I think about it all the time. I don't know what normal feels like.
Right.
Like right now, I feel normal. I think. You know what I mean?
See, originally we thought I was causing this. Now I'm the solution.
Sure. So, again, I just think, I think I've had a lot happen in my life with my niece and all that stuff. I think we mentioned on one of the last podcasts, my niece is in remission, so that's good. My brother's been going through some shit, so, like, that stuff. And then I kept telling my brother and my sister, you know, it happens in freaks, what's going to happen to me. And then I find out, and they found this, they were looking for something else.
Well, because of the ear tickling. Because you were having these panic episodes.
Well, and again, I have chronic headaches.
We call them panic episodes. We have no fucking clue what they are.
Yeah, I'm assuming they're panic. Like that day, like the guy at the emergency room told me the night we were doing the podcast, I got the shooting tingles down my arm, or both my arms. I thought I was having a heart attack. He told me there's a valve in your heart that sends an alert, and that's why you get the tingles.
Yeah. So that's one of the craziest facts I've ever learned. I didn't know that until you told me.
Yes.
And I've told a million people.
Thank you.
Oh, that's the girl right.
All right.
The other night?
I have no idea. We could
I
have.
could be wrong.
She's not wearing our hat, so I don't know if we gave her a hat. Nick and let's give her.
Yep.
So, what's up, man? I get it, awesome.
Yes.
I lost my train of thought. Oh, another thing that you start having with memory problems.
Not.
Well, but so what's funny? So the doctor asked me, "Do you have any problems with memory?" And I said, "No, I actually think I have a pretty good memory."
Right.
Which Kat can attest. I have a pretty good memory.
Not bad.
So but then like if I do forget something, I'm like, oh my god, it's something big on. Because we all forget shit. You know what I mean? But like I'm not forgetting things that have happened through my life or something like that. Like, so I don't think that's
Well,
that's
maybe
a
you
problem.
are, and you just don't realize it because you don't remember. Oh! Do you recognize all of them?
No.
Can we pause this?
Is it something?
What?
Remember, we're in our conversation.
I sold 4 free shirts, so that was a good sale for us. That might be the biggest one we've done.
I don't know. I sold 4 free shirts last night.
It's a one person?
Yeah.
Oh. All right.
Little Christmas boys time.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you're about to tell me why you thought it was funny that I got.
Yeah. So I'm sure we've talked about this. I think I've had this conversation at least with you. I don't know if we've ever talked about it on the podcast, but I am a huge Marx Brothers fan. The old 1920s, 1930s movie actors.
Okay.
They started in vaudeville. They evolved into the big screen when talking went into movies. So they didn't do silent films. They started when talking was in films. They were the first people to ever use product placement. Like everything about them is very, very cool. Vaudeville was cool. Movies are obviously cool. They've lasted a long time. The fact that they thought of product placement because they didn't have money for their last movie, because Chico was just a fucking rabid gambler. So later on, Groucho writes a book, Zeppo writes a book, Chico never writes a book. But, you know what, I think Chico wrote a book, but it was when they were still young. Harpo writes a book. Harpo never talked. He was a silent actor. But he was hilarious because his facial expressions were very well trained. I mean, he spent his whole life in vaudeville working on his facial expressions. He didn't speak in vaudeville either. So Harpo writes a book called Harpo Speaks. And throughout the book, one of the main things is that he's picked up golf. He's named Harpo because he's nasty on the harp, right? But he has to stop playing the harp towards the end of the book because every time he tries to play the harp, he has a heart attack. He's so hard on himself when he makes a mistake that it's gonna kill him. Then he starts having heart attacks on the golf course. And the doctor's like, you can't play golf. And he's like, no, but I play golf because I can't play the harp. And he's like, you can't do either, man. Like, you're too much of a perfectionist. So Harpo's writing about this and he's explaining, like, I don't know how I'm ever going to live without these two things. They're the most important things in my life right now. So he goes back to playing the harp and he's saying, like, I don't care. Like, I'm not playing for anybody. I'm playing for me. I'm trying to do new things. If I do new things, mistakes are expected, so I'm not hard on myself when I make mistakes. And then in the next to last chapter of the book, he's like, just touching base, I've been able to get back on the golf course. It's been going really well. I think me working with the harp and accepting mistakes has given me the ability to not be such a perfectionist in my later years. And the last chapter of the book is from his son, and he's like, so my dad died of a heart attack on the golf course. Which is like the best way that book could have possibly ended, because he was fucking hilarious the whole time, and then he has this notion that he's smarter than the doctor.
So you're putting that with me because
it's funny because you're so stressed out that like you found this outlet to relieve your stress, which is golf. And I'm like, oh, I've heard of this before. He dies.
Well, so what's funny is that's right, because I usually am super like I'm a competitive person.
Right.
Like I played pool for the last 11 years. Super competitive in it. I wouldn't even say like I'm a good pool player.
Right.
But I'm not a great pool player. I make mistakes. I have nights where I'm awful.
Right.
and that started to become more stressful for me.
Because you started to become a perfectionist and
Well,
hate the
because-
mistakes.
Well, and I do that with anyone.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't like making. Who wants to make a mistake? Like,
Yeah, why not just do your best?
yeah. And when your best is making mistakes, that's frustrating.
Unless you're new, when it's expected.
So last Saturday, I took Colin. I bought Colin a set of golf clubs because I figured this would be something we do together. And we're out there golfing. And Colin is, if Colin works at it and actually puts time into it, he will be very good at it.
Right.
Much better than me, right? So we're out and he starts talking bullshit. And starts stressing me out. Because again, I want to be competitive.
My hands tingling.
But I know that I can't be competitive in this because I haven't been doing it long enough. I'm not good at it. And so I stop him and I go, listen, I'm out here to have a good time. I'm all about being competitive. I am not going to be competitive with this right now.
Right.
Because I'm not good at it. And I'm out here to try and spend time with you, spend time with my friends, and enjoy the day.
Right.
I'm sure there will, like, and I get frustrated, dude. I can't fucking drive a ball to save my life.
Straight or at all?
Sometimes straight, sometimes at all.
Okay.
We went and played 9 on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And the last 3 holes, I literally topped the ball every single time, like 4 times in a row. Went and picked it up, put it back on the tee because it went 10 feet in front of me.
Yeah.
And just kept redoing what I was doing.
That's why you play with friends.
Yes, very, very much so. And I've been playing with our buddy Mark,
Yeah.
who has given me a lot of pointers. And Ryan is a pretty good golfer. But Ryan is one of those guys who doesn't want to give you advice because in his head, golfing is different for everybody. So he's afraid to give you the wrong advice. So most of the time he was... What's that? Confessions?
Confessions.
Guys,
How are you?
confessions. I thought you guys doing confessions right now. My name is Jody. I'm with Leaf Card. How are you guys doing today?
Doing well.
Quick, thank you. I have just a quick question for you guys. Are you guys interested in the free no obligation gutter inspection? We're giving away a $25 gift card just for them to come and evaluate the gutters, give you a video, show you what's going on. Might be a good fit for you, might not be a good fit for you, but at least you have some peace of mind of knowing what's going on there.
We
You get
actually live in the
25.
same condo complex.
Oh, you guys live in a condo?
Yeah.
So you have an AOH that takes care of that
Yes.
for you.
Yes.
Hopefully they're doing a good job.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Take
Thank
care.
you, though.
You're welcome. Thank you for your service.
It's so hard to say no, so I have to lie. We should keep all that in.
Yes, I will. I am 100% giving that. What's funny is nobody really, like, people are just walking up to us and
Yeah, we're recording.
No idea that we're recording.
Well, our sign is knocked down by the wind.
Yes, this is true, but still. Clearly we're doing something. There's a camera set up.
Yeah,
there's a phone on a
even if we
tripod.
weren't recording, we are in a one-on-one conversation.
Anyway. Yeah, so, but I enjoy it. Like, I'm going golfing this afternoon. I'm going with a group of friends. It should be fun.
Yeah.
I will get frustrated. But so since I picked up the walking, right,
Yeah.
at the gym, when I hit a bad shot, and even if it goes 40 yards, right,
Yeah.
but I know it was a bad shot, our buddy Mark, come on, get in the car, I'll drive you. I'm like, oh, I'm walking this one off. You know what I mean? So I walk. So I actually get a lot more steps in. Some days if I'm going golfing, I'll skip going to the gym because I know I'm going to walk a lot. And at least I'm out there being more like, there definitely became a point in the last couple of years since I've taken on a new role at work that I wasn't moving physically.
Right.
Like, very stacked. And then I'd come home and, like, I'm big into playing video games. I've even got to the point where I'm like, I want to play video games, but I'm going to go do something healthy.
Right.
Like, something outside. And in the wintertime, I think it's totally normal to be more of an inside person.
Now and you could, I have a dumbbell at my desk at work now. Just one. The other dumbbell is downstairs where I play PlayStation. And so, like, if I'm doing wrestling, I'll, like, schedule a pay-per-view. When I'm done with the pay-per-view, I will do a small set with the dumbbell. So I'm active.
Yeah.
At work, I break my day into tasks, right? And when I'm done with a task, I will do a small set. So I'm sitting there, but then I'll get up, get the blood flowing, do a little bit. It's not heavy dumbbells, but it gets me moving. Or If for any reason I get frustrated or I do something stupid or whatever, then I'll walk the property.
That's what I do.
Just, okay, boom, mental break, let's go, and then go back in fresh.
That's what I've been doing since I began Disney stuff. Because and again, that's how I come to realize most lately is probably anxiety and stress. Because when I get those, like, fucking getting dizzy, like, I get up, I take my water, and I walk out, and I just walk. And I walk. People are trying to talk to me. Nope. Keep it moving. I'll be back.
You should just put headphones in. You don't have to play music. Just put headphones in so that people can hear.
Pat, this is no lie. I talk to my boss probably 3 times a day.
Yeah.
At minimum. You know what I mean? But every morning I call him.
Yeah.
And we debrief on the day or the day before, whatever.
And you use a hand phone.
Yes.
Yeah.
People can clearly see that I am talking on the phone. People do not care.
Yeah.
That, like, nothing frustrates me more than me being on the phone and people walking up to me and waiting.
Everything's an emergency. They don't interrupt you. They just stand there and wait.
Sometimes they'll interrupt me. Other times they just stand there and stare at me until I acknowledge them. And I'm like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, wait, like, have some fucking respect. So anyway, but yeah, man, I'm happy we're doing it. So what do you think? Like, we haven't talked a lot about what we're gonna do here
At all. Really.
yeah, but I think we did 2 shows every week for the better part of 3 years.
Yeah.
With everything we have going on, you're super busy, I'm super busy. I think we should scale it back to Sunday nights, do a show, we release it on Monday, and we start there.
Even that, I work with talent on Sunday.
We'll figure out a night that works for both of us.
Right.
And we'll release 1 show a week.
We can still release it on Monday.
Yeah, depending on what day it is.
You do want to scale back the political commentary, so that gives us the ability to, even if we record it on Tuesday and release it on Monday, it won't be topical to where that works against us.
I definitely want to get back to, like, our roots, right? So when we first started, we were talking
about my day the whole time.
Yes, you did. No, when we first started this, we definitely focused more on movie reviews, funny stories, stupid shit. We definitely went down a path of political or news. And listen, we have a podcast, right? And there's no point, like, there's no agenda with the podcast.
Right.
You know what I mean? But at the same time, like, things are going to happen in the world that you and I may want to discuss.
Right.
You know what I mean? Which this is, at the end of the day.
Canadians with all their fucking forest fires. Get a Smoky. You don't have a Smoky up there?
Dude, were you there? You were. When we were like, we told Nick to make a shirt that says Canadian suck.
No.
And he was like, I'm definitely not. Oh, you're on the phone.
Oh.
Because he was at the house picking up the trailer.
Ah.
But yeah, I think once a week we focus, and shit's gonna come up that we'll talk about, but I definitely want to stay away from those polarizing topics.
So, I don't remember the name of the term. Remember there was a term for when you... when you intend to create a result by doing something. And what happens is you create the exact opposite result. Our example was in England. They had the English royalty started paying you as a peasant for the head of a snake. If you
I remember that story, yeah.
And the downside of that was
I don't think it was
people started...
I think it was in Australia, because they owned Australia. That's where all the prisons were. But then then they had this huge...
people were farming snakes.
Yeah.
So they said, fuck it, we're not paying you anymore. So then the people who had farmed the snakes went,
Just
well,
let
fuck
them
it. I'm not going to pay to keep taking care of snakes. So they let them all go. So they had way more snakes than they ever intended to have.
Yeah.
And more than they had when there was a problem to begin with. So I think we discussed this, and I'm not positive, but Smokey the Bear is another example of one of those things. So Smokey put this huge centralized focus on forest fires. If you're going to the forest, don't start a fire. Never mind bears, never mind, bobcats or fucking mountain lions or anything. Just don't fucking start fires. So the wildfires that we have are a result of, there weren't small fires caused by humans, like making mistakes.
Yeah,
so everything is ready to burn. So when it catches, boom, now you've got Canada dumping fucking, just days worth of smoke at us.
Yeah, yesterday and today was the first day that we had, like, somewhat clear
good air clarity.
Yeah.
Fucking crazy.
Yeah. When you walk outside, it smells like a campfire. Pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
pretty fucking.
I didn't. I saw how yellow the sky was when everybody started talking about it. I saw it, and I never saw it again. I never breathed it. I never felt it, and everybody was like, "Oh my god, it's so hard to breathe out here." I'm like, "What?"
Yeah, it wasn't like that.
But I think people with like allergies to
asthma.
smoke, or asthma, or sensitivity to some type of breathing, I don't know.
You know
had
what
a harder time.
You know what I think aided in maybe us not realizing how smoky it was most of those
Spent
days.
decades as a smoker.
No, most of those days that it was smoky outside.
We were inside.
No, it was cloudy. It was like cloudy days, so you wouldn't even fucking notice. You could notice like there's, throughout the day, like the sun would peek out a little bit, and then you could see like the haze. But for the most part, what's going on?
How are you, man? Not too bad. Can we help you with anything?
Just looking.
Have you ever heard of Second Armament before?
So Second Armament, all those shirts are 100% South Carolina cotton. Then they're flown over to California where they're dyed. Then they're flown into Torrington, Connecticut, where our buddy Nick designs and prints all the shirts himself. So it's pretty cool. 100% local, American made. Graham?
Do you guys have any Freedom 76 in large?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And hoodies?
Hoodies or t-shirts?
For the first time ever on the podcast or in reality, Tom is providing somebody with customer service. This is amazing.
$60, boss.
Alright, that's going to be a low time. Let's set the barrel. Lock the barrels up. Julia, on cookies and ammo that are ended.
You like podcasts? Sometimes? There you go. We're actually recording a podcast right now. We're not with Time Podcast. Sit around with me. We got about 200 episodes. It's all on there. And if you go in the back here, if you have an iPhone, you can scan that one. If you have Spotify, you can scan that one, bring it right to us.
That's a lot.
Alright, we're looking for.
Yeah, there you go, man.
All right, have a good one.
You wear hats?
Here she comes.
You wear hats?
Yeah.
The large, medium, or?
I don't know. I just put it out my head and hope it fits.
There you go, man.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Have a good one.
Have a good one.
8.815.
That guy was more burnt than a Canadian forest. Topical.
Dude, those Freedom 76 ones are quite the sell.
Yeah, I mean, it's different because nobody else. It's very 80s and everything right now is very 80s.
Well, I think they hit it.
Yeah, my least favorite era ever for, music, hairstyle, clothing, fucking everything.
I
And
would
it is
never-
coming back in a fucking fury.
To be fair, I would never wear that. Like, it's just not my style, but Colin would probably love it.
Yeah. I personally would not. I love the shirt other than the fact that it looks like it's from the 80s.
Yeah.
I love that it says Freedom 76.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't like the but, you gotta go with what's popular. Nick,
Yeah,
Nick nailed
He's
it.
killing it with that shirt.
So anyway,
But yes, everybody I know would wear lead.
yeah, man, I hope we get back into the groove with things. At least once a week, just hanging out. Not gonna lie, I'm just hanging out with you. I feel like I've missed a lot that's happened in your life. You went on a cruise.
I did go on a cruise.
I went on a cruise. I don't know if we did a show after. I don't think so.
I've been cooking
Oh, so-
non-stop, meal prepping
So I didn't
non-stop.
tell everybody. So I gambled so much on my cruise
Yep.
that the cruise line I went with gave me a free cruise. And then on top of that, I joined this website that also finds you free cruises when you get offered a free cruise. So I'm taking 2 free cruises at the end of one at the very end of August and one at the very beginning of September.
What does a free cruise include?
A room, a balcony room.
Oh, nice.
Depending on the cruise line, like with the one that gave me the free cruise, I have free drinks in the
I
bar.
sold a $60 shirt. Don't listen to Tom.
I sold the $60 hoodie for
Just
you.
fucking liar.
Thanks, guys. I put the cash right by your thing there. Oh, thank you. And then I
Nick
get
looks so bad right now that I'm in pain watching him walk. Nick's
Yeah.
back is all fucked up
feel very bad for him.
for slaving
Kind of.
over you loyal customers.
Remember, use code number 9ers or hashtag number 9ers at checkout. Get 10% off your order online. So yeah, so I got a free cruise. So I get free drinks at the bar or at the casino.
Okay.
I get that and then a free room. So and then I
So
think
you have to pay for travel.
I have to pay for my flights.
Yeah.
And then the taxes and shit you have to pay, the port fees. So
Okay.
both the cruises together, given they're short cruises, I think together cost me $1,000 minus my flights. So and on the
$1,000 just in the taxes, you mean?
the taxes and the port fees.
Holy shit.
But that's for two, so 500 for two people, $250. I'm not upset about it.
No, well worth it.
And I get I think it's $100 or $200 credit
On the ship.
to use at the casino while there. So
That's like the old, and actually those would be good ones to not do much gambling. Like, I know you enjoy the gambling, but how many times have you skipped shows that you wanted to see or stuff like that because
So-
you're so heavy into gambling?
I'm not big on those,
What?
like the shows and all
That's what I'm
that.
saying. Go to them because it's a free cruise anyways. I bet you'd really enjoy them.
Well,
I went and saw
but-
Footloose. It was awesome.
But in
I saw
order,
Elements.
in order to keep getting the free cruises, I have to keep gambling.
That's true, but your $1,000 because your $1,000 cruise could become, a $10,000 casino trip.
It's never going to become $10,000. But I see what you're saying. But at the same time, I can go to Mohegan and spend that money and not go anywhere. At least this way, I'm going somewhere.
That's true. How
Yeah.
are you?
Riley starting us off with an 8
It's a nice hat, right?
That's cool. 8.871. Sammy, Harley, Michelle, Aaron, and Sarah got the drag.
Is one of my favorite customer service exchanges when I say how are you and they say hi, I always go nice because I'm asking you how you are. You're hi. Okay, got it. Like, what the fuck? My other favorite is when I say how are you and they say morning. I always say sorry for your loss. Like,
Alright, let's get Sammy
just
Harley.
engage in conversation, man.
Yeah, they're not.
Alright,
listening to what you're saying.
No.
8.443.
So it's 11 o'clock. The Stampede has just opened. I don't know how long we're sitting.
People are here. We're 45 minutes, an hour.
Well, yeah, because we got
This is one of the
We got
factor of the
a break.
event of the
Yeah.
Talk to Greg and his family.
Yeah. So yeah, I hope we get some emails from people. We have for the next show we do at the house or our houses. We have a comment from Panachronic.
Oh.
I also want to give Panachronic some props. He got promoted to lieutenant.
Oh, congratulations.
So good for him. Everything's, for the most part. I mean, aside, I don't want to downplay what's going on with me, but at the same time, everything's going pretty well. I have I guess you would call it a new look on life, right? Every day is precious. So what's funny is I went to the gym the other morning, right? And we all know that I'm not a big God person.
Thank God.
Yeah, okay, a big religious person, I would say. And not that I would say that I'm a believer. Have you heard the song "Need a Favor" by Jelly Roll?
I'm sure I have, though I could not tell you which one it is. I listen to a lot of Jim. He's in my playlist.
Yeah, he's very good. So he has a song, it's called "Need a Favor," and it goes, I only talk to God when I need a favor.
Right.
And I only pray when I don't have a prayer.
Yep.
So I've been listening a lot to that song because, when shit happens to you in your life, I feel like that's why people find religion.
Yeah, it's always the same promise. Like, if you get me out of this, I swear to God I'll go to church.
Yeah.
And then it's over and you're like, well, that's coincidence.
Yeah, I'm not going to church. Not
Sucker.
saying, like, I don't think I'm ever going to church, but, so I'm at the gym the other morning, I'm driving back home, and I just say to myself, thank you for today. You know what I mean? Because every day is really, you should be grateful to be here.
Sure.
And then I get to work, and I don't know if I was having chest pains or my fucking ear was fucked up. Like, I don't know.
How are you guys? Not too bad. Thank you for asking.
You know, making your shirt on my shirt.
Very loud. You want me to grab anything for you? You got it.
So, I'm texting Erica, like, if I die today, I love you.
Yeah.
Very dramatic. And I go, you know why this is happening? issue. That's why I said, please, I take that. He's going to take it from me. You too.
Have a good one.
So, yeah, it's, I'm very grateful. You know, if I do die today, I've come to really, you know, I lived a good life.
My brother Michael, speaking of your God, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but he will always try to talk to you. Yeah, it's not really my thing, man. Like, I feel like, you know, some people are into it, some people are not. I am one of the latter. And he always goes, when you're ready to die, you'll be ready for God. Because when people are on their deathbed, they're like, oh, God, please, please bring me to heaven.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. We'll see.
Well, and that's, you know, like, I don't want to, like, I'm very big on, did I tell you about the cardiologist? I did, at the house the other day. The guy I heard on Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
So, and I don't want to get into all that, but, I'm very big, even before all this, I'm very big on morals, and I'm very big on, you do what you think is right.
Yeah.
You shouldn't bend your morals just because that's the popular thing to do. And I don't know if you remember this, but when the vaccine came out, I was very against it. Like, not against it. It was just, I'm not going to do it. It's not what I want. Right. And then I booked a trip to Aruba. And then there was talks about us not being able to travel outside the country without the vaccine.
Yep.
So, and looking back, if all this is caused by the vaccine, right, which we don't know that that's true, right, but it's been a thought of mine.
Right.
If all this is caused by that, and it's what I deserve, right? Because I went away from my moral compass over a trip to Aruba. Is really what, and what I'm really what I'm really beating myself up more about is not only because I wasn't going to have my son get vaccinated, but I was somewhat peer pressured into it by society saying, you know, don't send your kid to school.
I think so. Now we look back at that time, right? And we can, because now it's past us.
Yeah.
And I think of those things, and I think of the people who jump up immediately and go, "You're all sheep. You know, you're just being led to the slaughter." And I'm like, well, no, we're a society that follows our government that we elected, that we put in place. So we should. Not with blind ignorance, but we should do as we're told in most situations.
Yes.
The problem is that all these people who have grown up watching movies and listening to music where the hero does the thing, now everybody's special. I don't think everybody's special because parents. I think everybody's special because that's the environment that we've created. It's not parents, it's entertainment, it's parents, it's everything. So when they're like, everybody should get a vaccine, everybody who was told they should get a vaccine went, not me because I'm special. No, motherfucker. If the common thought, if the logical people who know more than you say you should do it, you probably should do it.
So again,
it's not like a reason to fucking rebel.
Do I know what's hilarious? And they said that we weren't going to talk about this shit.
You brought it up.
I did. So yes, I agree with you. But the problem is that our government is corrupt.
Sure.
And being pushed. Do you know how much money Pfizer made off the vaccine? It's billions and billions and billions of dollars.
Even still, this is the system that we have created with our
I'm not
votes.
disagreeing with you. I'm not disagreeing with you at all.
Technically, you're more involved than me. Because I don't vote.
But you know, like Joe Rogan said, he goes, you know, people shouldn't be ashamed that they got vaccinated, but they should be able to sit there and reflect on it. And this is exactly how I feel. I got bamboozled. You know what I mean? And I'm man enough to say that I got bamboozled. I shouldn't have wavered on my morals and my thought and everything on it.
But you got bamboozled into what?
Into getting a vaccine that could potentially cause harm to me because we don't know.
Okay, but you also took a vaccine that could potentially have saved your life.
So they say. I mean, they proved that the vaccine wasn't.
You also got bamboozled into getting a job that's further away from your house and driving one of these cars that somebody, you know, makes a profit off of you buying.
But again, but those are choices that I'm comfortable with. I was put into a situation where I don't want to lose this vacation, and went against my morals or my original. I don't want to say morals because that's not really what it was. It was my thought.
Yeah, nobody's morally against taking.
Yeah.
Actually, there might be people who are morally against
taking vaccines. I'm not against vaccines.
Right.
I'm against I was against that one because we just didn't know.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's
But,
how I
mean,
felt.
dude, we're talking. So
But
we were all
fuck me,
taught,
right? Fuck me, right? Erica was forced to get the
Right.
vaccine and forced to get the boosters. I told her this. I'll never get a fucking booster.
I never did. I was supposed to. I didn't
Okay,
know. I
next
forgot.
fighter, we are
Yeah, fuck
looking
that.
for
Yeah.
Shauna
Maybe you have
Riley.
the confidence disease.
Maybe. Maybe I've had it since birth. No, but like, dude, so it's everything. It's, you know, it's the food pyramid. You know, we all learned the food pyramid and that you know,
Well,
this is
that's-
how you eat healthy, and that was a lie. That's
Well-
not the healthy way to eat. We shouldn't have 11 servings of fucking green a day.
Yeah.
Who the fuck needs a loaf of bread a day?
Yeah, facts. Well, and that's so that cardiologist that was on the road, he's one of the guys who spearheaded the saturated fat causing heart attacks. It's not true.
Right.
It's not fucking true.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We overprescribe statins to people who, you know, our limit's 200 when really you could live fine at 3 or 4.
Right.
And he
But
goes,
this
I'm not
is-
saying statins shouldn't be prescribed, but we're over-prescribing to correct an issue, and most times those statins cause more problems than the little bit higher cholesterol.
Right. So the vaccine is more of the same. It's not. We treat it again like everything is super special. Everything, every person, every.
Yeah.
When again on the timeline, very insignificant. COVID, very insignificant. I mean, it's not the fucking Black Plague.
Well, it was treated like it was. It
Right.
was treated like it was gonna. Again, it was a cold.
And it was handled differently, and we were vaccinated faster and things like that. So it could have, but we'll remember it like it was the Black Plague.
Yes.
Because
that's the way it was
Listen,
handled.
like for Michael, my brother, who's a nurse, he's still dealing with it.
Yeah. But, so it's funny, right? Because I just heard somebody say the other day that they had COVID. Somebody around them had COVID.
Yeah.
It's still a thing.
Yeah, you still get tested for COVID all the time, like if you're doing, like you go to the doctor and shit. Certain
No,
symptoms.
they don't even fucking. Well, maybe. But look, I had fucking COVID, didn't even know it. I thought I had a fucking, like a head cold. And
Yeah.
I went there to, it was for something with this. And they're like, oh, well, it sounds like you might have COVID. And they swabbed me in my car and called me and said, hey, you have COVID.
Go home.
Yeah. And I was like, huh?
Yeah.
Like, I have a runny nose.
I've still never tested positive for COVID.
That's the only time I got tested, or I tested positive. It's also the only time that I did take a couple at-home tests, but I never, like in October, there's no doubt in my mind that I had COVID.
I can't remember why I had a test once. I don't remember why.
In October, there was no doubt in my mind that I had COVID.
Yeah.
I had a migraine for 3 days. Remember, I couldn't leave the basement.
Yeah.
But I refused, because once I realized I had it, it was to a point where if I test myself now, work has to keep me out for 5 days.
Right, and you're already 3 days in.
I was 3 days in, had 2 days for the weekend. I'm like, I'm going to be at 5 days on Monday, but if I test today, they have to tell me to stay home for 5 days.
Right.
I'm not going to test.
Right.
Like, I know I got it. You know what I mean? And just because, again, I'm big on honesty. So, like, I couldn't test myself and say, oh, I got COVID, and then not tell somebody, because
Right.
to me, that's lying.
Yeah,
To a
when
certain extent.
Liz at one point had a test, I can't remember why, but I was like, I don't give a fuck if you pass or if you fail. I do not want to know what your test result was, because we've been together the entire time. So if you have it, chances are I have it, and I would feel inclined to test.
Yeah, and then it puts you in a situation that you don't want
Do
to be
what you need to do.
Yeah.
I will try to ignore the context clues.
Yeah. Like you crying. Oh my god, I got COVID.
She called me immediately. She was like, "I tested negative." I was like, "You're breaking the rules. You're breaking all the rules. What if you have to test again and you don't call me next time? Then I have to assume that you in fact tested positive."
Yes.
Brian and Kayla,
So,
115-21.
Anyway, man, I can't say how excited I am to sit down with you and talk.
All right,
Yeah,
let's go.
super excited. This is the most time we've spent together since last fair season.
Face to face. I mean, we've done podcasts, but
Oh, that's true. But we weren't together. We were like on the interwebs.
yeah, I actually Pat could call me gay, but when we were setting up for the fair
Oh God. it's so
Thursday
bad.
night, I was like, I really, as much as I dread doing this, like setting up and hanging out with Nick and Pat and Jake from State Farm and like all the people that we've learned met through fair season and the camaraderie we've built because of it. Like I had a fucking great time stopping up here Thursday night to help Nick set up and hanging out. Like we didn't even do anything. We didn't even set up our table.
Nope.
For the podcast.
Just
last
the
night.
tent.
We literally just came and hung out, with Nick,
Came.
Jake from Safe Room stopped by.
He came.
Everybody
Tom came. Everybody was coming. Coming everywhere. Jesus.
Caming everywhere.
We all came.
So we're leaving. We're actually getting out here early today. We'll be here till like 1:30, maybe 1:45, and then we're out. And then we'll be here. The plan is to be all day tomorrow night. I don't think we have to come this early. Yeah.
What time's it over tomorrow?
7.
Yeah, probably not all day.
Well, we gotta help Nick wrap up.
It's true, but I got a grocery shop. I got a meal prep. I did the last time.
So why don't you just come up later in the day? Again, we don't have to be here till. Well, we really don't have to be here at all.
What I could do is come late with Liz and then leave with you because Liz is gonna go home anyways. So
Yeah, so I'll come up in the morning. I'll hang out with Nick. Again, we don't have to be here. We came up early today just because we knew we were going to record the podcast this morning. And I might actually go home when I'm done. There's a concert here tonight.
Yep. Oh, you know what? I also have a business trip that starts on Monday, and I told my mother I would do dinner with her on Sunday. Yep. We've always, since I think I was 15 the first time I traveled away, maybe 14, and we've always done a meal before I left.
Okay.
So that's right in there.
So it looks like Pat won't be here to break down tomorrow.
Very possible.
It's all right. We'll figure it out. Really, I mean, there's not much. I mean, we'll be able to break this down in like an hour.
No, we didn't set much up, which helps.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna leave Nick high and dry.
No, but it's less to write down.
Yeah, there's definitely. I mean, Nick didn't bring nearly as much stuff as he did to the last fairs. And he wanted to do this kid. He wanted to do it all in his truck. And I'm like, Nick, just run the fucking trailer. Just run the trailer for a week, man.
So much work when you didn't have to do much work.
Yeah. Could you imagine? I mean, and we don't live far from here. We live 15 minutes tops.
And it would have been 2 hours to set up because we would have been going back and forth.
It would have been way more than that. He would have had to come up here 45 times to set up. Because his truck's not that big. Even if I filled my truck, it's still 3 or 4 trips. Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah, you want to get us out of here?
Yeah, and then I'm going to go eat some Mexican food. It's
11:30.
Liz left like 5 minutes ago, so I guess I can wait. She's not even going to eat the Mexican food.
Well, you bought her Mexican food yesterday, and she didn't eat it.
That's true. I bought Liz Chipotle on our way to the fair, and she put it in my fridge when we got home from the fair because she ate it the fair. So with that, number 9ers, I say good day.